What's happening now across the Niagara frontier? News stories, old stories, stuff you know about and stuff you'd never believe. It's the Niagara Hub Soapbox with Craig Avery.
All right. Well, I'm here with my good friend Vince Anello, former mayor of Niagara Falls, and as many of you know, we've covered the issues of the progress and the lack of progress, and many times with the city moving forward in its role in making this a good place to live. And I have been critical, actually, of specifically the city administrator and the city planner. But I'm probably wrong, because I've asked many of you to come forward and support me, but it might be my observations are miscued. So what I'm hoping to do is start from another level, looking for first of all, the definitions of the job roles, the job descriptions, if you will, of the positions that I'm hoping are leading our city forward. And then once we find out the job roles, we can ask some of you to come in and be interviewed, talk about their observations and how the different people are actually meeting their job goals or falling short, and then we can go from there, and I can be critical or not critical based on that. So it's a new way of me saying it's okay. Let's get through this. So what I would like to ask you, as an experienced mayor, ran the city one time, there was a position called city manager, city administrator, right underneath the mayor. What is that responsibility? How much work does the mayor have to do to manage that position, and then what does that position manage?
Sure. With the charter, the positions, with city government, you have the controller, you have the city clerk, and you have the corporation council. And the mayor is the one that really makes those appointments. And also, to administer the city, the day-to-day operation of the city, they have a city administrator. In the old days, it was called the city manager, but the city manager, was actually the same purpose, the day-to-day operation of the city. Now, what that means is that the city council sets the level of service that they're going to deliver to the taxpayers. The mayor has the ability and the right to either veto some of those initiatives or accept them, but it's the mayor that puts the budget together for the level of service. Once that's all said and done, January 1st, what happens is the new budget takes over with the level of service that they're going to provide to the taxpayers. The city manager's job is, believe it or not, is to run the entire city, which means all the department heads, officially, they don't work for the mayor, they work for the city administrator, except for the controller, the corporation council, and the city clerk. So that's the day-to-day operation. So when a department head has an issue, you would think that they would talk to the city administrator, not necessarily the mayor. But it depends if you're a hands-on mayor or if you're a mayor that sees things a little different and has, and feels that the administrator is doing a good job or whatever. You would only want to get involved when there's a major issue. For instance, I was considered to be a hands-on mayor, and you still have to keep the kind of etiquette to where you don't go directly to an employee and say, "What the heck are you doing?" Okay, and that's not the administrator's job either, or the mayor. You go through the chain of command.
So when we say department heads,
right?
Name some departments.
Yeah, Department of Public Works, Parks, Police Department, Fire Department, HR, MIS. So the way we used to handle it is we would have weekly meetings with all department heads. And I have to tell you, some people hated that. They hated the weekly meetings. But the reason we used to bring them all in at the same time was because it's not unusual for a department head to put on the table an issue that they might be running into, or actually another department head might offer a suggestion that could be part of the solution. Mm-hmm. Well, the administrator's job at that point, and in my case was Danny Bristol, was to get all these ideas and try to incorporate them into the running the city. So The fact that you had people that were responsible for their departments being able to give some input on running other parts of the city, it just made everybody better.
Okay.
You know, and
So you'd have these meetings with the city administrator. You'd be in there too, even though
only when they ask me. See, I don't want to be the one saying, well, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? That's the administrator's job. Now, if something went wrong and I wanted to know why it went wrong, yeah, I would bring the administrator in first and say, what happened? Then if I accepted the explanation, or I felt that maybe the administrator was being a little bit too kind, let's say, in the explanation, not giving me all the facts, then I would bring the administrator in with the department head and say, what's going on here? How can we make this better?
Okay, cool. So the city administrator's responsibilities or talents should include managerial skills and understanding of the responsibilities of each department. They don't have to know how to plow roads or
No, but you would expect that if you hear complaints from the public about plowing, that the administrator would say, okay, let's bring the boys in, see what's going on. And then from that, try to develop a plan to address the issues. The administrator's job was never, certainly protect the employees, but not ever to make excuses for the employees.
Okay.
You know?
Then what is the administrator's role to the public? Is there a responsibility to the John Q. public?
Yes, our taxes, property taxes, go into the budget as a revenue source. The administrator's job is that all the money that's been allocated to the budget for the delivery of services, that we get $1 worth of service for $1 worth of revenue that's in that budget. And that's believe me, that is a hard, tough job, and you have to do it every day. And again, you can try to lessen the impact when things go on in public, but you can't misrepresent what's going on because you'll never fix it.
So let's make an example.
Well, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, people were complaining about high grass. Okay? The department head came in, and you remember that was the time when we weren't getting the casino money. Okay? It was being held back. So in the press, and on 2, 4, and 7, one of those stations, you had the department head say that the reason they weren't cutting the grass was because the Senecas were withholding casino money. Well, that's a day-to-day operation. The budget was already in place. The money was there. We cut grass every year. So not challenging that, and the administrator not making it clear that the money for those services is there. Now, if we don't have enough money to cut the grass, let's say we wound up with more lots, then it's up to the administrator to explain, look, we need a few more dollars for this activity because last year we had 100 pieces of property, this year we have 110. See, they need to explain why the services cost what they do, but it's the administrator's job to make sure that we're effective and efficient.
And the correct explanation is getting to the public, and if that department head doesn't communicate it right, that administrator should make sure of that.
That's right, because it's important that I think there's a lot of there's a lot of confidence that a taxpayer would have if at least they're given the opportunity to understand the issues. They understand how you're trying to impact the issues, and that's basically the administrator's job. I mean, it's the mayor should be busy doing other things like economic development. I fully support that notion.
Ribbon cuttings and cutting babies. Kissing babies. Don't cut babies.
No, exactly. But in the back pocket, where a lot of people can't see it, he should be, that's where that whip should be. In his back pocket, he can put his dress jacket over it, and crack that whip once in a while, because the final authority goes to the mayor.
So we've got managerial skills to manage what the departments do.
Exactly.
Communication skills
Very important.
to communicate to the public what's going on. What's the role of the administrator to the council?
Keep them informed about everything. Keep them informed.
So
the agenda comes up.
meeting or the every other week meeting. What is the administrator?
There should be an open door policy with both the mayor and the administrator, but certainly because of the day-to-day operation with city council members. And if they don't want to come in, they don't want to come in. You can't force them to come in. But for instance, we've had a number of issues in the last few years where council members, even this last council meeting, I mean, where council members will say, well, I didn't get all the information. Okay? Well, the administrator is supposed to read that agenda
Okay.
and look at the backup material. Now, if there's something in there for, let's say, from the planning department or for DPW, the administrator should be able to bring the department head in that has that agenda item and say, okay, I'm not familiar with this. What's going on with this? Where are we? Where did it start? Where is it going to end? And be able to answer those questions. Now, again, I'm not going to put the whole thing on the administrator or the mayor. If the council doesn't ask those questions, they get the same agenda at the same time. As a matter of fact, the administrator actually gets a heads up, because before the mayor places agenda items in there, they all talk among each other. So there should be, I think, at least the way I saw the job, there should be a great effort in working together in the information part of it.
Okay. I think that is concise enough for me to say again. My opinions, I think the current administration is falling short on a lot of those skills, managerial communications, but I'm wrong. So I need someone to come and talk to me about the talents of the administration, how they are effectively managing the departments, how these departments are very pleased at their oversight, and also that the public is very clear that the communication from the city administrator is crystal clear.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're a successful businessman. I mean, those things that you just enumerated, don't they seem logical and important?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it any other
For
way.
running a business, it should be
Right.
being run efficiently, and
Right.
as opposed to what I see is everybody just pointing in different
Right.
directions. The Indians, this, that. It just doesn't make
When
sense.
you have an issue, you address it.
All right, cool. We're going to end with that. Thank you very much. We might have you back, and then we'll see how we fill in this rubric, if you will, an
Yeah.
educational. I learned that word, rubric,
Yeah,
and we'll see if it works. So,
all right.
thanks.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.